No, leave it open. I've got a good like a noise canceller that works just fine.
Do you want to put a shade up behind you or anything?
Oh, what's kicking? What we got here? Put some stuff up on my screen. Yeah, it sounds good. That'll do. Check that mic. Make sure everything's working. Feel like it is. Oh. Just zero activity on Reddit. I don't know. Maybe people don't like mentioning streaming in a Laravel community. That might not be very popular. I get it. Whatever. That's fine. Any good stuff? Ooh, upvotes. Lucky me. Let's go see what's new. Oh, yeah, we're still on version 9. That's good news. Right, well. All right, so there's not a lot happening at the moment. Let's see if we can get a few more viewers. But who have I got? Say hello. This is probably going to be a ghost town for a little bit. Oh, that's pretty good. I might just make a new workspace called streaming. Goodness me. Nah, don't think I will. Let's see, let's do the resume builder as an app. No, thanks. So I think here we're going to just do a, we're going to start a project for development roadmap. So we want like a mind map style thing, and it's going to be development roadmap. I'll just, so add block. Initial features, and then Hey, hello, Enchants. Nice to meet you. All right, so I guess just to take you through my idea. So I've got this this resume that I've been working with for the last couple of years. That, you know, every time I'd updated, I would build it as a code project. I'll just have a look in here at the code. I would just update here. So it's just a Vue project. So you can see actually here. So this is the real one that's currently deployed. You can go and visit that, visit the live version if you want, but the resume, I would just go through every time I wanted to make a change. I would update the data directly, push it to GitHub, and then the application would just update. So if I wanted to change the live version, one that's deployed and publicly accessible, I would push the changes to GitHub. But if I just wanted to do a real quick update, then I would deploy. I wouldn't even need to deploy it because I would just run the app locally on my computer and then just print it out. So there was a couple of shortcomings with this resume. It first of all, if I go to Control P, you can see it cuts off this side of the like the whole side of the resume. So you got to go and change the scale down to 80, and then it would fit it on. Now, what I've done, I've just grabbed this whole Vue component, and I've put it over here in my developer portfolio website, just as another component in Vue, and I'll just show you that. So if we have a look, got the resume open here, because I've just copied it over and I've just started working on it and using these to essentially replace this old application. Am I making sense? Like, is any of this actually making sense? So basically, to explain, I've got the previous application that was just like a full view single page application. It was serverless because I deployed it on Netlify. It has no backend. So the only way to change any of the content in the resume was to change it directly in the code. So you have to hard code all of these changes, which would occasionally result in, you know, spelling errors just going unnoticed, and it's a bit of a pain in the neck if you discover a spelling mistake and spelling or little grammar issues, or if you just want to tweak just a little thing. It was kind of a big deal to have to go in and you know, open up my IDE and then push code to GitHub or other fixes. You know, I had to get the app working locally. So it was a bit of a pain in the ass, really. So I always thought, okay, well, if I had some way to edit the content of this without, you know, if I could just log in essentially and just update it like I do with my LinkedIn or with my Seek profile, and have it spit out a resume that still looks nice. You know, it's set up the way that I like it, and I think it looks fairly attention grabbing and compelling, which, you know, should serve to put my resume at the top of the pile, or at least on the shortlist when someone's considering the shortlist for a role. That's really the purpose of the resume. So I wanted to still be attention grabby. I wanted to stand out whilst still really falling in with sort of your expectations, or a recruiter or a hiring manager's expectations for a resume. You know, I want to innovate, but not too hard, if that makes sense. So, like a couple of issues that I had with this original resume, like looking at this, you know, to have to customize the scale in order to get it to work, that's a bit stupid. You know, I'd really like to be able to just press print, you know, hit your Control P, and then everything just fits and looks right on the page. You know, default margins, default scale, all that default stuff. So I did manage to go through and fix all of that with the version that I copied over to my new, I'll show you this. So the version that I copied over, just grabbed a couple of things here. So I changed the scale when you print, and I'm working with TailwindCSS, so it's got a lot of these, or it is all these useful utility CSS classes. And so we're going to, so when I build this next one, a lot of this I'm really just going to copy across to my to this new application that I'm building, but I really wanted to dive in to the development roadmap and have a look at what, well, have a think, you know, have a think with an audience. Maybe I can get someone, maybe you've got some thoughts on what should be included in the feature set. And we'll see what I end up making. All right, so close up this for now. Let's have a look. So, so I'm going to start with a Laravel application. Now, so far with my actual developer website, I've just built this using I've used Laravel with Vue, but using the inertiaJS framework. I've also built another application with inertiaJS and Vue. Uh, I like it. I was a bit weirded out by it, because it's changing Vue to be more of a Laravel Blade experience. But look, I've really got used to it, and I feel pretty comfortable with it now. So I think in this project, I can't think of too many reasons why I would not build with Vue. Sorry, I can't think of too many reasons why I would build with, blades, like a static page PHP. I can't think of, because essentially this application is going to be for users to be able to log in and update their resume and have it spit out a template. That's what we want. That's the whole objective of this. So I'm going to go, so you can log in. You can resume, not profile, but resume. And so what is a resume? So we got a resume is essentially the whole account, really. It's the profile. Although I feel like there should be like resume versions. So you would have one resume for one type of work. So for me, and I say this, my example is that I was previously a salesperson for 17 years, and then I've just recently transitioned into web development, and I'm currently trying to really highlight on my resume the all the web development experience that I have, but also, if I'm not getting any bites as a new, a web developer, sort of makes sense for me to build. It makes sense for me to also have a pretty good resume for being a salesperson, or even customer service, because at the end of the day I need a job. It'd be nice to be a web developer and transition into web development as a career, but if I'm not getting job offers, my bills still keep piling up. So I've got to make sure that I can quickly and easily switch between those careers, depending on really what my motivations are. And I think a lot of other people are probably in that position. You probably have a career where you might have parallel skill sets, or you might have a couple of competing pursuits in your career that you might think, okay, well, when you're on the job hunt, you might be at a fork in the road where you might be interested equally in one direction or the other, and it helps to have a resume that can reflect the specifics of each of those when you're pursuing it. So resume, I think a user can have multiple resumes. As many. And a resume has many employers, and then a employer has many roles. Let's see here. Resume has many roles, has many employers, has many resumes, and resume has many summaries. I think as well, so looking at this, so profile, I think you'd probably call that a profile. Yeah, I would call that a profile. Where am I? And then what else? Has many summaries. I'll be back in a sec. All right, I've returned. So I think has many summaries because each time you make a different version, I think your profile and summary is going to be different. So for every resume that you have, you should be able to have. Actually, no. Do I want to just say which? So a resume. Do I want a resume to essentially just be a collection of all of the different summaries, employers, and roles? Because you might want to also just omit some roles entirely. So, if you're going back, say, 10 or 15 years, it doesn't make sense to include that one time that you were a temporary call center operator if what you're looking for is a web development role. But if, on the other hand, you are looking for a call center operator role, you would probably want to include that. So, you count all of the relevant experience that highlights how your skills and experience fit the job description, essentially. So user has many resumes. So what is the resume object? Resume object. So it's essentially just pointing to the ID of a summary. So you would create the resume from the ground up, or from your experience up, I think. So you'd be populating your experience. Populate your resume from the bottom up. And you should be able to essentially choose which experience is or is not included. I mean, essentially a resume it's just a collection. So a resume doesn't necessarily, a resume is not the content itself. It is a collection of specific content that is tailored to fit the job description. So you can have multiple of those. That's good. Okay. All right, I'm going to let that idea marinate for a little bit, and I am going to let's spin up the Laravel project. And I will also like to initialize, and maybe we'll have a look at some ideas for a domain. Actually, forget the domain for now. We'll just see what we can. I'm just going to see how far I get with spinning up the new project. Could be because I'm currently running Windows, and running Windows has just historically been a real pain in the neck for setting up a new Laravel project. So let's have a look. So get started on Windows. Let's see here. Windows Terminal. Oh yeah, that's right. We want Ubuntu, and I think I can do a... All right, let's just do this. Resume builder. Oh, I really want... Actually, what I really want... That's what I want. You know, I wonder... I'm just going to test this now. Resume builder. Let's try this. Of course. Same thing. Oh, looky. Okay, good news. All right. Okay. I like the look of this. We got a little bit of progress here. Okay. I'm gonna resume being optimistic about this project. Golden Tower. Hey man, how you going? It's good to see ya. Well, yeah, good point. Let me take you through the idea. So we're doing a resume builder. So since like, oh, I don't know when I started this project, I can probably look on GitHub. No, I'm not going to look on GitHub right now. So uh, for the last couple of years, I've been using a resume builder. Sorry, I have been using a resume that I built with a with VueJS. I just built it as a single page application that I've just deployed to Netlify. So there's no backend. It's essentially just a single page application that has all of the data is just, you know, it's essentially static HTML just in a JavaScript application. So if we have a look at the code base, I really just utilize the like browser storage for anything that I do want to store. You know, the whole the whole resume is essentially just a big old JSON object that is just rendered out in in the view here, and I also have a handy little cover letter that changes things. So here's cover letters, and all these cover letters just get saved in the browser, so just in the local storage for the browser. So every time, and it's got a couple of clever little bits. The position will change based on whatever the employer is advertising for. Just a couple of little triggers, just to a little bit of flair here as well. Add a little bit of graphic, a little bit of color. Everything is geared towards just making my resume stand out. And I like this. My partner Tamika has been on the job hunt for a couple of years, or on the occasion over the last couple of years. And I would have loved to have been able to say, hey, go and do all your edits in this, because it's a resume that I know that works. It's formatted in such a way that it essentially provides all these wonderful keywords when it's and the data is structured in such a way that it makes sense when it's being ingested into an application like Seek. So when you upload your resume on Seek or other job boards, it will essentially pull all of the text out and put it into its own profile. So with that in mind, I thought, okay, well, how can I work towards getting this to a point where other people can use it? So naturally, I thought, okay, well, I might just build an application. So it's essentially going to be a CMS, content management system, for what? For resumes and CVs. And also, and what I've found as well is that I have this system where I will, for all of my employment and job hunting, I make a folder and I save the job description, and it's handy to just be able to go back to the job description and look at it, especially when I'm prepping for the interview, and also it just prompts me to remember as well, like, when did I apply for that job, or who have I applied with, and how did that go, so I can keep notes on my progress with some job applications. So I'm thinking that if things like cover letters and job applications can be saved, kind of keep track of previous job apps. Yeah, absolutely. So, because, Seek, as an example job board, they do a pretty good job of keeping track of everything that you apply for within Seek. But, if you apply for something on, say, Glassdoor or LinkedIn, you're not necessarily in control of all of your application history. And I think if you've got a good spot to write a well-formatted cover letter that is specific to the employer and the role, I think that's probably valuable. Now, I've seen plenty of resume builders online. This isn't a really novel or unique application. I'm streaming this. Obviously, I'm going to make this project open source, so everyone can just pull the code if they want, and even contribute if they're excited to do that. But I think this is probably a good demonstration of my skill and ability as a developer. So it might end up serving me in my career long term. Hopefully. I don't know. We'll see. There's no guarantee of anything, is there? All right, well, man, Laravel apps take forever. You don't really have public. Oh, because you don't have public projects. Because you've made a whole bunch of proprietary stuff. Hey. Yeah. Yeah. You know, I'm the same actually. I'll just have a look at my GitHub. What have I done here? GitHub. Okay. So if I have a look at my, yeah, see that's proprietary. That's proprietary. This one's open source. Yeah, so that's a public one. I might just put it in incognito and just see what the repos I've got. Oh yeah, actually I made a yeah, so this project was client work, but I did it very cheap on the basis that I could do it as a public repo. So that's that one. Webs as property. That's just a website clone of mate's website. So all I did was just clone his website using Blade. And what else did I do? I really just tuned it up because he was on a WordPress website and it was really not optimized at all. It ran terribly, loaded so slowly, and I just wanted to quickly do a clone and demonstrate essentially that it could be so much better. Your website performance could be so much better, and that's going to improve all of your that's going to improve things as far as bounce rate, user experience, and even SEO. SEO performance gets improved when your website loads better. This is the website. This is my portfolio website. So essentially this one is the portfolio website that we're looking at here. So you can see what I do for this portfolio backend. Actually, I don't use that anymore. I did, but yeah, that hasn't been worked on for ages. Oh, wait a second. Which one's this? Ah, this will probably be it. Actually, this will be the. Is this the one? I'm sure it is. Last week. Sorry, this is my this is my website. That's my actual website. What else? BDFI Spark. Oh yeah, that's right. I've got that because I built that with Laravel Spark. Actually, I might just kill that one. Yeah, so this is the original resume. This is BM Toolbox. This was proprietary. That was, this startup idea that I had, but I've abandoned this project, and I just decided that I pull the back end out of it, and made it so it's a full single page application that relies on the browser's local storage. So you can see all the data that's used in the application here. So if I had, say a client app, say John Smith. You can go over to data, and there's the full data for the credit application that you would create for that user, and there is no data traveling anywhere outside of this application. So it's a fully local application that is a web app. We got some handy things like loan calculators and the like. I'm really proud of this application. It was a major passion project of mine, and it ended up, the market for this sort of application is really tough and complicated. So, and I really didn't have both the capital and the commitment really to see it further than this. I think it just serves as a handy demo for what I am able to do. But alas, it was not to be. Oh man, this is still going. What does this take? Anyway, so going back here, web developer, if I just show you here. So this is the updated resume that I built. Now, this one solves some of the problems that I had here. So if you have a look, just as an example. So if I print here, you can see that the first up, the cover letter doesn't automatically include here. It is, and the sidebar. No thanks. No, I'm good. I wonder what I can do about that. First time chatters. Oh yeah, that's fine. Display mode. No, I wonder if that was. What a mod level 4. What do we get here? All right. I think I don't care enough, really. Anyway. All right, so just going back to this. So you can see I don't get a cover letter. If we have a look at the defaults here, this is what the previous version of the resume looked like. Now, in order to get things to work, you'd have to scale it to 80%, and then it would include the cover letter, and also include this sidebar. And so 80% was where it looked just right on the page. But I don't really want that. I wanted it to just essentially be you hit Control P or print, and it would just automatically just fit the page and be perfect. So I did. So I went in and updated the page, and you can see here I've got print P2, all of these styles here, and I'll show you what it looks like in the page. And so I just added a little bit of print-only styles. So take out the padding, chuck in some scaling, print with full, etc. And then over here on the cover as well. And also I've just, reduced the size of the text right across the whole resume, just so that when I hit print in this one, it doesn't require any scaling. So that's a pretty big improvement, I think, to the way it works. Now, a couple other things that I probably also want to fix. I don't know whether putting a page break after after these is completely necessary. I'm sort of undecided on that, whether or not that's useful. Is that something I can do? Hmm. 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 Annoying. Anyway, whatever. So once I get the... Oh. All right, let's have a look. See what we get here. Resume builder. Open with code. It's going to also open in terminal. Let's do this one. All right. Sail up. Do I get sail up? I do. Wonderful. Let's just put a git npm run dev. Let's see what I get. All right, I'm going to close up this. See what this looks like here. Okay, so I get dev. Do I get hot? Where's my hot? Just going to see what this looks like. And just see if... Okay, well, dev and hot are the same. Okay, so npm run dev is hot reload. Sweet. Cool. What have I got there? Ah, that's right. Yeah, I know what I was doing there. Yeah, cool. All right, so what I want now is, let's have a look at localhost. Nice. All right, that works. Now let's go back and get a... Let's go get a next steps. So, all right. So I've got the Laravel up, and then packages. I think I want to use Jetstream. Nice and easy. Beautifully designed application starter kit for Laravel and provides a perfect starting point for your application. implementation of your login, rego, email verification, two-factor authentication, session, API via Sanctum, and optional team management features. Sweet. Cool. So I think this is what I'm going to work with. Reason for that, like what I really want is can access their data by API. Because if you put all this data into the system, you probably also want to be able to access it and modify your template. So if, say for example, I build a something like this, I think I would like to be able to just rely on the application that I'm building now as just a CMS, and I should be able to access that data in any application that I build. So this is why I think I want to have like API keys essentially that you should be able to plug into your own single page application or other app elsewhere, and use that to just simply use this to manage the content. Or even you can probably just build a whole front end yourself. It's probably outside the scope of this this development speed run though. So yeah, can access their data by API. Maybe full. Well, I mean, this is going to be a version 9. But I've worked with yeah, so I'll just use whatever's latest today, which is what we're starting with. So if we have a look here, we've got Laravel 9.19. So it's up to date. I don't have to do any guesswork. Huh. I want oh, why is it doing that? See, that's what I'm talking about. Why does it do that? Because I haven't run npm install. Yeah, that'll change things. Yeah. Yeah, so with Vue, like it took me a bit to get my head around Vue and JavaScript frameworks just generally, because I started my education just with Laravel and working with Blade. So I built an early application like back in 2017 just with static pages. But I kept bumping into like the limitations of static pages, and I really wanted a bunch of all these cool rich features that I just couldn't make work with Blade at the time. So I just started working with Vue. I found a couple of online courses and split the Vue with the overlap. Both actually. I did. So I had this. So going back to this. Going back to this app, this was really like the application build that I was obsessed with and the whole reason I got into web development in the first place was to try to build this application, because I was previously a finance broker, and I had this really huge and complicated spreadsheet that was doing a lot of automation. I always dreamt that there would be a case for finance CRM that helped you manage client applications that did a lot of that calculation and like condition checking for you as a broker. And so I started building it as, like, I first built it as a static page application in Laravel with Blade. Then when I learned Vue, I started building it as a monolith. So host essentially being just the one code base where I hosted the API and backend in Laravel, but also built a single page application that was hosted within that same code base. So that was a monolith. Then the version of Laravel I was using at the time, I used Spark, and that used Bootstrap. So and Bootstrap, I don't know if anyone else here's ever dealt with like trying to really customize a layout with Bootstrap as like your underlying CSS framework. It was just a nightmare. I kept bumping into all of these like issues where, you know, a div would essentially come with styling, or like a heading would come with all this extra styling, and you're trying to lay things out in such a way that, you know, you really, with a complicated CRM, you're really trying to make the most of every piece of real estate, and you can't really do that with Bootstrap. So I got really frustrated. It made me want to essentially rip the Vue application that I'd built out of the Laravel monolith, because so long as it was in that Laravel monolith, it still had all this vestigial issues with like jQuery and Bootstrap just infecting all the CSS within, you know, the app that I was building. Couldn't figure out a way to cleanly separate it at the time. So and also I'd made a couple of mistakes in that build architecturally that really felt like just to tear down and rebuild was probably the right move at the time. So I then started building the front end and the back end as two separate applications. So I used, and sort of the reason why I did that was because Laravel Spark, like the package from Laravel that handles subscription billing, I was using that, and my expectation was that this product was always going to be like a software as a service that was going to have monthly subscription billing for users, and the Laravel Spark package handled that, and I didn't have to, you know, dive in and get tied up with all of the billing and subscription code. I could just focus on sort of the innovation that I wanted to do. So, and Spark used Bootstrap. So I really couldn't, like, if I'd built yet another monolith or tried to pull Bootstrap out, then I had to go through and restyle all of Spark, like all of the Spark layouts. And that was just, yeah, it was too much work for me to consider at the time. I just thought, okay, well, if I just build essentially a new front end as a separate application, that means I can be a bit more modular, so that if I want to be a bit more fluid on the front end in the future with the development, then I can. And so I just separated those concerned and built them as a separate Vue and Laravel app. And actually, that's the same way I worked with, where am I? Where's my, here, over, so this is in incognito. So with Qingkai, this is built as a separated front end and back end. So the, essentially it's like a walled garden for this. So this was a memorial site that I built for a friend whose nephew passed away a couple of years ago. May he rest in peace. So GitHub. I wanted to find. And so with Qingkai, I used a Meteor API. So the API backend for the qingkai.org, and Qingkai is the application. So you can go in and have a look at those. I made them publicly accessible for the sake of it. Now in this, so I guess that brings me back to my architecture for this one. So for this, I'm going to do a monolith with an API. So in the future, so can they access their data by API? Yes. I'll make an API available, but I think for the sake of quickly spinning up the application and getting it to a point where people can actually log in and use it, I think it makes sense for it to just be a monolith, because I'm going to use Vue with inertia. Have you guys worked with Vue or inertia? So inertia and Vue. Installation. Inertia. Install Jetstream with new applications. Attempting to install will result in unexpected. Okay, so we're going to do this. We're going to go sail, artisan, Jetstream. Sail. Oh, do I need to? I need to install that. So yeah, it is. Hey, yeah, I've played around with a little bit of React, and I don't know why people do that to themselves. It's so annoying. It would be awesome if more developers would just try Vues. I think it would just become much more popular because there's so much less boilerplate that you have to write with Vue. So then after that, we do the install command. In addition, you may use the team switch to enable team support. I don't think we do. Hey, can you think of any reason why we might want teams? Any reason at all? Oh, I can't, man, I really can't think of it. Teams are easy enough to implement later, so I think I might give teams a miss. And again, like I don't want like scope creep to occur, like in our very first couple of hours of planning this application. Because again, all we want is user. Okay, well that's probably so obvious. User can update their resume content and can create of and we also want, based on job they apply for, we also want can save jobs they apply for. What else? Okay. But yeah, just going back to what you said, yeah, Vue was really easy to learn, and I think I'm really lucky that Vue existed when I got into web development. I'm obviously not saying that it's impossible to learn web dev with, say, with React or Angular, but being able to just think about your application in terms of components and puzzle pieces was really, really helpful for me early on, and so I think I'm spoiled, which is probably why I'm having some trouble finding a role, is because I keep just looking for a Laravel and Vue stack role, and there's far more, like in Brisbane, it seems to me like there's far more .NET and React roles than there is with Laravel and Vue, which is pretty frustrating. All right, where am I? What do we got here? So this, and then we want installation. So we just want yes, or if are you on Windows or Mac? Actually, sound off in the chat. What operating system do you guys use? Yeah, so we got one Ubuntu. And hey, welcome, Trifix Coder. And just generally, guys, like thanks for stopping by and checking this out. You're essentially all my rubber duckies. As I explain my my thought process here. So hit npm. I don't know if anyone else here has had the same sort of issues that I have, but I'm running Windows, and it's pretty cool most of the time. Like most of the time, I don't have to fight it too hard to get like a development environment set up or a new project set up. What I have found is that this Laravel Sail, because it works in the Windows service layer, or yeah, WSL, I'm pretty sure. Windows, what is that called? Windows Linux. Anyway, running running Linux in Windows, it's pretty good, but because it's going through like this virtual machine, you can't run npm, or I don't run npm within that that Linux VM. I think it's because it's only given a single thread of resources, and it's already sort of doing a lot by just hosting the application via Sail. So I've just found that because I've got npm installed locally, just running npm in just a git bash or in, actually I don't have a bash. I don't do bash here. I could probably just do it in PowerShell or somewhere else, but I find that running it in Windows has worked a lot better. Now, what did you say here? So, I've got a hobby project pretending to work on. Yeah, nice. Yeah, man, I got one of those too. Do you want to see it? I've got this app that I made last year. Oh man. So, so I'm a bit of a car guy. This isn't my car. This is a car that I really love. Like, I've got a huge crush on this car. I have a Mazda 3 MPS from the same year. Mine's in black. Haven't got any mods. I've always fantasized about just modifying it. I'll tell you, I've had this car for almost 10 years, and I have had such a nightmare dealing with mechanics. Anytime I've given my car to a mechanic, a professional, to do work on it, it's always come back to me in worse condition than it was when I gave it to them. So I had panel damage. Actually, I'll show you. Let's just jump in. So, oh, nope, I don't want that. I want to log in. Oh no. Uh-oh. Oh no. Jesus. Ah, wait, that's the one I want. That's me. All right, so if I go to my vehicles, this is my car. In history, so this looks an awful lot like a vehicle logbook. Hey, well, this is because I gave my car to a mechanic. I forget when, I forget which one, and they lost the logbook. And I have no idea, which mechanic it even was now. So the best that I could do was go through and find all the receipts that I had. I took pictures. I wrote a couple of journal entries over the years, and I had this. I had a spreadsheet for a bit that I was just keeping track of everything, but all the while I was thinking, man, this is a problem that's got to be solved. Surely I'm not the first person in history to have a problem where I've lost the bloody logbooks, and I still want to take care of it, And also, if your car's outside of warranty, there's not too many motivating factors for taking it to a official mechanic or an official service center, because essentially all you really need is just to have a record that work has been done, that your fluids have been replaced. It just sort of makes sense to have a real, something is better than nothing, is what I'm saying. It doesn't have to be a foldable paper book. Just so long as you have some record is so much better, and your car is worth so much more when you're trying to sell it if you have something rather than nothing. So I was sort of chewing on and meditating on this idea for a bit, and sort of thought that I'd build an application like this, and I got plans for it. I really want to make it into more of a car club thing. So in your vehicles, it'd be nice if I've got a Mazda 3 MPS. I'd love to be able to share all this with people. So for example, actually, yeah. One of the challenges is that you've essentially got to do all this work. You got to go in and actually do the stuff yourself. So but you can essentially treat it like a blog for your car ownership. So this is a bit of fun. I had this is the original steering wheel that caused me some grief. So I went in and just bought some stuff, and I set up comments, set up. What else did I do here? Actually, I'm pretty happy with this. So in media, I've got pictures with I'm not the greatest developer ever. I'm not like super skilled on the front end, but I've got like enough sense to be able to figure out that, oh, look at this. I've got, how do I essentially render images, and then when you press close, you should be able to go back to the page that you were on, and you'll see that up here I've got referrer, and it continues to bring through the referrer page. So essentially the page that you were on when you opened up that image is now going to be where the X points you to. So you're not really closing a component or reducing or dropping a component down. you are instead creating a link. So you can see down the bottom here, you've got a link to where you started, essentially. It's kind of just a hack. I just couldn't figure out any other way. With that, I was really just trying to replicate like the Facebook social media, like, when you click on someone's image in social, like in Facebook, it would open up a whole, like a whole single page component that would just be the image with comments on the side, or if it was, depending on the size of the screen, it would be comments below. And I have no reason to reinvent that. Modal thing. That's what I started with. So I started with a modal, and I kept finding that like I had so much trouble. Actually, if I do this, so you can see the collection. So media, display, 25 of the collection, 25, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. So these are the IDs of each individual image. So when you hit next, you can see now it's displaying image 11 of that collection. So if you hit priv, you go back there. So what's happening on the back end is you're sending through this detail. So if we highlight next, you can see down the bottom, like that's the request that you're sending through. So you're essentially just rerouting through each time you press next, and it's changing the display of anyway, it was complicated. This is pretty clean. Like the way it works at the end of the day is pretty clean. I'd love to be able to get like a swipe motion happening on smaller screens. Like if you go here, there's not really a way to swipe across, but when I put the comments go back in, they're going to either sit here on the side, or depending on the screen size, they'll sit here underneath. But I've just got the component module turned off at the moment. All right, cool. So that's that. That's my show and tell for now. Thanks for showing interest. Also, guys, if you've got a car, and if you like your car, like if you've got a fancy one, or if you want to just have a car profile, where am I? So view public profile. So you do get a public profile. You also get a user profile. So users and cars have their own individual profiles. So this is a mate of mine. He made a joke car, and also made a one for his actual car, which is a beast of a FJ Cruiser. But if you do have like a car or a car Instagram, you can put your links and socials and stuff on there. If you want to jump on, make yourself a profile, that would be cool. I'm way off topic. All right, okay, let's go back here. Where was I? So, all right, so I've done the inertia scaffolding, and then the next thing we want to do is install, run build, and migrate. So let's do that. I'll do that here. Install. All right, and then npm pm build. Okay, so we got that. All right, and so and I'll go run. Oops, np run dev. Oh, wonderful. All right, so we go refresh. Fingers crossed. Oh, of course. No, we got to migrate. Of course I do. So I go here, sail, artisan, migrate. Nice. Okay. What do we get? Oh, nice. All right. Well, let's register. Oh, I don't know. Actually, that's gonna do. Yeah, I'm just gonna go PASSRRRD. PASSWORD. No, thanks. Yeah, I'll update that actually. All right, cool. So I got a Jetstream dashboard. What are we gonna do here? So, that's the next thing that I want to do. So today we are just setting up the, we want Tailwind, and I'm pretty sure that's already installed with the inertia. Let's just double check that. Let's just see. So we get, where am I? Oh, yep. So we've got, that's already there. Nice. So already going to do stuff. Man, I really love this new, like these new packages where they just automatically use Tailwind. So wonderful. I remember it was all these extra steps to just go through and have to install Tailwind and try to pull out Bootstrap, and you'd essentially be dealing with a shit fight trying to get Bootstrap to fight with Tailwind if you wanted it to work together. So having Laravel move over to the Tailwind has just been a delight. Sheesh. Okay. All right. Well, where would we start? Let's have a look at the objects and the way they're going to relate to each other. So we want an look here. Might need your help with this one. So I think, so we have a look at the sort of the elements of a resume are, well, we might start with a user, I think. Okay, so maybe a profession. So that's what we get there, hey. So we get a profession. That's our position. Profession. We have a oh. We have a I think, yeah, I think that first one. So a user has the info, and a resume is just a collection of that info. So a user has a resume, which is that info. So yeah, I mean, a user possesses resumes, but essentially you've got, yeah, yeah. I mean, I think both ways of saying that are right at the same time. So a user has info that you compile to create a resume. Yes. So a resume is a collection of things, and there should be multiple, or you should be able to create multiple resumes by essentially plucking out bits and pieces of your full history. So essentially essentially a resume could just be an abridged version of your full history. So you just selecting what to include or exclude from each resume version, if that makes sense. But we will probably also want things like a user will also have, so a should has many, and has one. Wonder if I'm going to contact details, but then also links. So it has many links. Because these are links. Has one contact detail. So I might go email and phone. What do we got? So it has many links. And I would think that the links are, I mean, it should essentially just be like those, like if you want to include your Instagram or your LinkedIn or your GitHub or, I don't know, your OnlyFans or your Patreon or whatever link you want to include in your resume, you should be able to just put it in. So links and it would be essentially a display, and display text and display text and URL, I guess. And so these would link to, here I've got, you can see, you probably can't see, but bottom right hand corner, you can see that is a hyperlink that essentially makes a call. You also got same for email, it'll do a mail too. So yeah, same sort of thing. That's going to be a mail to link. And so I think you should probably have those as smart links. I was thinking the other day as well, like, wouldn't it be so much better if you could just send a link to your resume to a prospective employer that, just contains essentially that resume. It opens as this. This is the web page. You can send, we call it, resumebuilder.io or .cc, or doesn't matter. And it's your name slash, maybe a unique code that makes that specific resume pop up. So that instead of, if you might be having a chat with someone on LinkedIn, for example, and they say, hey, send me over your resume, you can be like, cool, well, let me just send you the link to my resume, and you can just download it like right there. So that you don't necessarily always have to have a copy of the PDF. And then that also means that anyone who has that link, if you send the link and then you decide, oh, actually, I really need to shuffle some things around on that resume, you should be able to make those changes perhaps before they even view or read the resume. Or you can post the link to your resume, say, on your LinkedIn. If you put your link to your resume on your LinkedIn page, you might have a thing on here somewhere that says, you might just put the link maybe in here. I don't know if LinkedIn even allows URLs in our profiles. Oh, actually, here we go. Yeah, so I've got steamdiesel.dev. Oh, no. No, it doesn't. So annoying, LinkedIn. But what if you could just have a link to your resume that maybe it might mask your contact details for the sake of getting a bunch of spam. I'm pretty concerned that I'm likely to end up with just a colossal amount of spam from live streaming this project. But I don't know. We shall, we'll see. All right. So, yeah. Yeah, spammers, man. They sneak in with the humans. I think I might have a delay. Do I have... chat appearance, chat highlights, deleted messages, pause chat. Oh, man. Hmm. Okay, I don't know. Oh man, one of these days I'm going to learn how to actually use Twitch. I've got no idea what I'm doing. Just like a few seconds. Yeah, it might be a go slow, like a delay in stuff popping up. Anyway, whatever. It doesn't matter. I can see you. Okay, so I think we might just get started. Hey, I might just make a little thing. Maybe we'll start with a warm. Oh, I regret this. Oh no. Oh, this is awful. Uh, uh, oh, I'm sorry you had to see that. Okay, all right. Let's just go into the user and we'll start adding some details in to them, and we'll see what that does. So we'll go to our database migrations, create a users table. Now, do I want a users? Man, can you think of any reason why you'd want to have multiple email addresses? Yeah, I think I can. I think I can. So we might just put. It's not hard to. And then because a resume is essentially just going to be a collection of, it's essentially just like one giant pivot table, isn't it? It's a collection of external IDs. So when you make a resume, all it's going to be is just foreign IDs for all of the associated collections. And where it's not just a collection of foreign IDs. Actually, it's just going to all be. It's all just going to be pivot tables. Man, this is pivot tables all the way down. Because essentially, like a resume will belong to a. Uh, Man, I wonder if this might be a much bigger project than originally thought. Or am I just, I don't know, maybe I'm thinking about too many edge cases and not thinking about it in terms of what is the quickest and simplest application that I can build. Because I'd really love to be done with sort of a minimum viable product, so to speak, in like a week. If I could get through this in a week, I'd be thrilled. Hmm. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to be right back. Back in 3. All right. Okay. So I have this. I have sort of this idea that I would basically I don't really want to interrupt the registration and sign up. I would like all the contact details and pretty much everything in the resume to be yeah, I'd like everything in the individual resume to be like apart from the user model. So this here, I think I'd like to just leave it as is. Yeah, I'm just going to leave this and basically create a resume table. And then tear out this this initial dashboard and start putting in the original one. Yeah. So sort of keep the user itself as sort of sacred ground, and basically don't interact or don't modify the Jetstream, because it's just used for user control. Not really any reason to do anything to wreck it. All right. Well then, in which case, so we got models here. Let's go back to okay. So we want to make a model, and we want to make it a resume. Oh. MF C. Is that right? Where's the Laravel docs? Do I have that open already? Let's go see documentation. See the basics. Where's... Oh, Aiden's here. Def's not Aiden. Welcome, buddy. So, eloquent. Model conventions. Yeah, that's okay. Welcome. So Aiden, I'm building a resume builder. So I've been rocking an online resume for a couple of years, or a resume that I built with HTML and CSS to make it look just right when it's printed out, with a little bit of graphics, bit of color, and a cute little layout to grab some attention. And I always thought that it would be nice to have have this built as a web application. So that's what I'm doing. And because it's not a new or novel idea to have an online resume builder, I thought, well, at the moment my resume and generally my portfolio as a web developer is pretty limited. So I thought, oh, I'm just going to stream this, record it, maybe stitch together a couple of things to sort of demo that I can, in fact, build applications and think about them from a whole product perspective. So maybe this is a good idea, maybe it's terrible, I don't know, but I'm doing it anyway. And it's good to have you with me. Oh, you did? Ah, awesome. Yeah, nice. For those wondering, when he says stallion, he means my car. Because where is it? There we go. So yeah, I really love the Deftones, and my favorite album is White Pony from them, and so I have the White Pony on the back of my car, which is what he's talking about there. But yeah, that would have been good. And who knows, man? We might. I play a lot of COD these days too. So if you want to get online and play some games, let me know. All right. So we're going to start with for sure, man. So we're going to start with oh man, I don't even know where to start really. Like what would you work on when you first get into a application like this? What would you first expect to build? I would think probably first things first, you would start making your employment history. Like the first thing you would start writing is your employment history, or at least importing all your employment history from your previous CV. So if you've got a CV already, you would do you do a CV. Oh, 6. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I don't go in for strategy games personally, but I understand the appeal. So I think the first thing I might do, you know what? I might even just start building the front end dashboard. Let's do this. You know, I'm starting to realize that I think I've got stage fright. Normally, I would just go in and start coding, plugging things in, breaking stuff, and going from there. What I might do is just initialize this. Let's do this. It's going to do a first commit. Yep. Done. Open on GitHub. What do we got here? That's private. Actually, I probably should have made that public. Hey, I'm going to do it. Can I? Change to public. Okay, that's enough. Thank you. All right, cool. It's public now, so you can go and check it out. Grab it later if you want. All right, but at least now I've got a initialized GitHub, and I can roll back any changes if I break something. That's handy. Now let's have a look. I would like to not public. I want resources, JS, pages, dashboard. All right, let's Let's kill this. Ah, that's right. It's not running hot anymore. There we go. Title. Dashboard. I was thinking it'd be really nice to just have to build this as a what you see is what you get builder. So that essentially when you're looking at the resume, you should be able to like essentially just double click on bits and pieces and edit it as you look at it. It might be a bit advanced for the scope of this project though. So what we'll do is build a so we'll just do employers. So an employer. Yeah, we'll do employers first. Okay, so we want factory. We'll probably get a seeder and controller. And a model, migration, factory, seeder, and controller. Yep. Controller and form requests. No, I really don't want form requests. That's kind of annoying. And then, oh yeah, pivot. MFSC. That's what I want. MFSC. Make resume. And I'm going to do the same thing for employer as well. Okay. Let's do that. We'll head over to the database, migrations, resume. Cool. All right, and so resume should belong to a foreign ID. What else do I want? No, I think I might leave it there for now. And then we also would like a employer. So we've got employers. I suppose I could do a... I don't want it nullable. But I might go default. Do I want new resume? Yeah, I'll just leave it at that for now. So employer could be title, table. Name. Then because you got a role. A role at an employer, and an employer can have multiple roles. You can have multiple roles at the employer, and each role can have multiple statements. So let me sort of walk you through my thinking here. So when we look at a resume, you know, say here, so full stack developer, the this role, so the role is full stack developer at our property, but during my time at our property, I also worked as support. I worked as a support agent, so started as a role as support agent. I'll just zoom that a bit for you. It's really disorienting. I won't do that again, I think. But I started at our property as support agent, and then I went on to be a web developer. It makes more sense to be able to sort of separate out those roles or omit those roles completely. But then also, if you look at each of these sentences and paragraphs here, they all highlight individual sort of skills and aspects of my employment that I would like to highlight. So I was sort of thinking of being able to include or omit skills or sentences based on what is sort of based on what skills I want to highlight, or omit from a resume. So I'm sort of thinking that if I have a role, that's cool, and then each individual role I could just have each sentence sort of relate to roles. Becomes sort of challenging. Sort of hard to explain. And if it's hard to explain, it might be even harder to code. So I'm going to keep it simple for now and just go down. I'm just going to drill down as far as roles, and then the user can put details in for roles as they see fit. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Okay. So new employer. I might put a description as well. Table text. Make that nullable. And then we'll go over here to roles, and we want nope. I want no, I would like a string for the name. Oh, title. And do I want to put default in there? I suppose I can always specify it as it's being built. Okay, and so oh, yep. Spuddy's role package, because the role is not a user access role. It's actually a role for the resume. Yeah, it's all good. It does make me wonder if no, that's okay. It does make me wonder if maybe the naming convention for role might be better off with something like position. I'll leave it as role. Whatever. Actually, user roles. Like if you ever needed to put, if I was ever going to change the code base in the future, with roles, you'd just be making like a user roles pivot table anyway. So it's not really hard to implement a roles. And you would only have roles if it was like, if you had maybe things like a team, or if you were giving roles to say view, maybe you might invite another authenticated user to view a resume. It might be password protected, but then even there, like there's sort of simpler ways to be able to do it. You might just have like a password protected resume. You might just set a password and say, hey, here's the link and here's the password, so that your resume is not open to. That's actually probably a really good idea. Yeah, I might just chuck that in the resume. No, I'm not. I'm not going to leave. I'm not going to have just like vestigial fields in the database if I'm not actually planning to develop that as a feature immediately. I can always add the field to the migration later. So then, description. The title to the role, and then there's the description. I guess if we have a look at the resume, what do we have? We have employer, have full stack developer as the role, and then you have the description. So the description would be this. Then I guess just the tenure. Might just do dates. So what's a good way to do dates? I'm sure I figured this out recently. And messing around with dates has been annoying from memory. So I just want to go and see what I did here. I'm pretty sure I solved this problem previously. What did I do with work? Oh, yep. So I cast to dates. See what I did in the database. Migration. So date, cast to date, and works table. In date, I just use a date. Cool. All right, I'm gonna do that. So start date, end. I'll just call them start and end for roles. Date, start. Did I have a default? No, I had it nullable. Because that can be nullable. Actually, I probably don't want it as nullable on my start date, but it should be nullable on the end date, because, I mean, what if it's your current position, it should be nullable. Can anyone think of any reason why you wouldn't have nullables? I don't see it as an issue personally, but like I said, I'm not an expert. I'm just a guy building an application. I'm not going to put in things like tenure because the system should just be able to calculate that. And you should be able to just calculate those sorts of things in the front end without too much fuss. So I'll leave that to inference, and then that way it's always sort of up to date and correct. What else? Might just okay. So we have title, description, user. Did I have user ID? User ID, employer. So I'm not going to do employer stuff. I'm not going to. Yeah, so I do. I connect them directly to the user, so the owner. Have them all directly connected. But most of these other things are all going to be connected by pivot tables. So I'll have like multiple, because the resumes can have like has many relationships with employers and roles. Yeah, an employer. Although a role should have a employer. Yeah. Because it just makes sense, doesn't it? You can't really have a role without an employer, or an employer always has a role. Just had a thought as well. So just coming back here, you probably see as well in my resume, I've got experience categorized by careers. So full stack web developer, 5 years, and I just create a heading and I use some formatting to sort of lay it out. Sales executive rep for 7 years, and then sales and finance 8 years. So these are different careers that would essentially just be like a grouping of, or a collection of common experience over the course of history. And so you can see here, we've got 1 year back in 2013, and then 1 year in, or like 2 years in that. That's not matching up. I've taken that out. And that's because like all these details are hard coded. So I would have modified the resume over the years to suit like the different roles that I was applying for, and essentially meant that I was missing details like, oh, well, you take that out. Even though I was in sales and finance in the motor trade for 8 years, I have essentially suppressed some roles and counted them as sales and finance, like a business manager. I've essentially categorized these collections of employments and collected them all and summarized them differently depending on what role I was applying for. It'd be really nice if the application I'm building could essentially automatically collect those experiences together, so that, you know, if you're just trying to present well in a certain industry or for a certain profession or career, then, you know, that really should just be a couple of clicks away. So anyway, sort of my thought process there. Okay, well, I think I'm ready to migrate. I'm going to do that, and then I'll head over to the models. And then we're going to start with a model. So first with a resume. So what do we want? I want to do these. Oh man, what is that? Protected. Oh man. I know this. App. Models. Bat. That'll do. That's enough. Thank you. Fillable. That's what I wanted. Protected fillable. We want title. And start and end. Warrant start is date and end is date. Cool. And so a resume has, I think we can just double check here. So this belongs to user. Class. I felt like there was, get the user for the resume. Cool. We'll go from there. What do we got here? Ah, hello, Dollar Devco. Yes, welcome, welcome, welcome. Yes, I am reasonably young, at only late 30s. I'm just sneaking into the definition of young, I think. All right, and then so I think I also want to get. I don't think it belongs to actually. I think what I really want is, what does it? This resume belongs to the user. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it actually is in fact the user. So I am, yeah, using inertia for this one. Yeah, sweet. Yeah, what I've worked with inertia and Vue a couple of times, so um, yeah, it's all right. Uh, pretty good, honestly. It was a bit jarring when I first did it because I had previously just built like a REST API with Laravel and hosted a separate um, Vue single page application elsewhere, and I was pretty comfortable working that way and just handling all like your state and routing in the Vue application. But I sort of accidentally did a project. I spun up a project with inertia, and I thought I'd just sort of dive into it a couple of months ago, and I've just got used to it. I think it's a pretty good way to develop. Yeah, yeah, and I think if you stop fighting it, I was sort of fighting it in the beginning, and I was a bit frustrated by it, but yeah, I think it's got a pretty good use case because you really get like all the benefits of both, don't you? You get the best of both worlds. All right, moving on. So a resume. We want employer. It's probably employers because yes. Hmm. You know what I like doing? I like putting routes together. And hey, welcome aboard. I like doing tinkering. So I'm going to go. Sort of do this. I don't know if anyone else does, but uh, I sort of stuff around with tinkering with things. Sort of as I'm prototyping, I'll normally just do a couple of routes in, like just to make sure I'm getting things working. I like just setting up a tinkering route that returns pretty much whatever it is. So if I'm just returning, I'll return hello world, for example. And then if I go over to the app, nope, where am I? Yeah, there we go. So we get a hello world. So I'm not going to bother with a view at this stage. I'm just going to make sure that we're getting all of the relationships working between all of my things. So like one of the big things I want to make sure is that user will get that, and so we'll just make a resume. Oh man, what am I doing? Oh, I'm forgetting how to make a thing. Let's just grab this. Nope. What else? What have I got? Garages will do. Yeah, cool. Okay. And so I just pass in the array and create. Cool. And so we want a, well, the, but then, oh yeah. That's an attach. I think I might just get the user auth. User ID. Yeah, I'll just do that. Because should just give me the number 1. So I've done that. What have I done? Web PHP. What have I done here? Oh yeah. Okay. So it's giving me that. User ID. Actually, if I were to just do user, just see what I get here. I should get the whole user object. Yeah. Attributes. There we are. That's me. Attributes. So then we get name. So user ID, name. Yeah, cool. All right, I might just go user, and then we'll just access the ID specifically for now. And then so we want title. First employer. Oh, come on, man. We want the description. Now, I think the way dates are stored is 2000. Does anyone know how dates are stored in the date way? Am I doing that wrong? I'm just going to leave that as null. New date time. Yeah, I suppose that's a good point. I might do... see what that does. Hang on. Am I in... I think I'm in resume. And that means that I am... I've been putting that all in wrong. God, I'm a twit. Oh! Okay. That's because that shouldn't be an issue because I just gave it a user ID. Doesn't have a default value. User ID. User ID. I wonder if that is... Yeah, good point. That shouldn't be fillable. User ID should not be mass assignable. Yeah, yes. Yeah, absolutely. So you go resume. Oh, yeah, good point. I can just take the user and attach the resume. The it is a belongs to at this point, so probably so that's the resume, and we want a user model with a belongs to many. It's a maze. It's too many. Actually, this is has many. Should be a has many. So yeah, user has many resumes, and then the resume belongs to, well, it really only belongs to a single user because on the migration there is just a user ID. So that in theory I mean, as I read it and understand the belongs to, that is just belonging to a, you know, a single parent model. Does that make sense? Am I reading that right? I think I am. I mean, of course, as a user can make a different version of resume. Yeah. Has many. A user has many. So a user has many should be able to. I mean, I'll test it. I'll test it in a second with this route that I'm stuffing around with. Attach resume. I might just actually I might just put find method resume. So user resumes perhaps. Oh, I've got myself confused here. A user let's just see what it tells me. It doesn't have a default value. Of course it doesn't, because resume create. Yes, right. So I'll ditch that and then see what that does. Yep. So has many attach. No, has many. I don't do attach. I just do resume. It's not attach. It's user resumes equals man, I got to read the docs. This is killing me. Let's go to relationships. Okay, so one-to-one, one-to-many. This is what we have. So a post has many comments. Cool. That's what we got. So, so what do we do for attaching? Save method. Belongs to. So we want post, comments, save, comment. Cool. So, yeah, that's it. Not attach, save. And not here. We do resume. And here we put resume, and we want a new resume, not create. Isn't it? Yeah, that's right. Okay, so resume, new resume, title, first employer. Oh, first resume, I should say. And so user resumes, save, and that definitely says, yep. So comments, cool. So this should work. Well, I do want a new... I think I want a new instance of a resume. I'll try it this way, see if it works, but I am also curious to see if I can just put the object straight in to, say, like right in here, in that little save spot. Because if I can do that, that'll save. You know, if I can just chuck the object in there, comment, save. I think you're right. Yeah, the docs show it that way, but man, if there is like a shortcut where I can just grab that and chuck it in there, then that would be better. Oh, huh. Okay, cool. Well, that works. Let's try it that way. See if there is a shortcut way to do it. Get a different ID here. If it does, nah. So argument, it requires a model. Like it actually just wants a model, or it expects, whereas it's an array, so it wants like the whole model instance. That's all right. Worth checking anyway. Okay. Cool. So that's that. And now let me see if I can get a. So we got a couple of these. We'll go third. Cool. So heaps of resumes now. And then we want now I want to see block that and that. And now we just want to see, can I get the user? Cool. So we get the collection of resumes. Nice. And now, so now I want to just make sure that we've got the employers model. So the employers table sitting here, resume table, roles table, get rid of that. So resume has employers, an employer. So resume belongs to many. So this is where I wanted to do some pivot tables. So resume employer. And I'm pretty sure that's the only pivot I really need, because I don't think I need like a resume. I don't need to go like deeper than resume employers. Like I don't think I need to have like a pivot relationship between resume and the role. So like the position or role for it. So I think if I go to, excuse me. I think if I go to, yeah, just as deep as employers with pivots. All right, well, I'm going to make a pivot table. How do I do this? Let's go back here. Many to many. Let's go here. So many to many. That's what I want. model structure belongs to many. Right. So it doesn't tell me how to make a pivot, but you know what? I thought I saw a pivot. Do you know if there's an artisan command to make a pivot table? I thought I saw something before. Database. Yep. I'm going to... I might just get out of that for now. I am going to just make it the old-fashioned way, I think. I'll just make a pivot table manually. It's not a big deal. All right, so we do sail, artisan, make, migration. And we want a create. So it is a relationship between resumes and employers. And it's a employer resume table. So with a pivot table, the convention is to write it in alphabetical order so that the system can, so that the Laravel system can find it. So convention's always an employer's resume or employer resume table, essentially. So create employer resume table. Create employer resume table. Let's just see what that does. I'm pretty sure it's right. Resumes, employers, create employer resume table. Let me go back here. Oh, wait, I don't want that. All right, it looks right. Do I want timestamps? Yeah, I may as well. I'll keep the timestamps. Employer resume. Yeah. And then that should be it. I will run that. And then we have a, cool, so I've got that. So then employers belongs to many. And then we should have a employers, so we want a resume. Resume belongs to many. resume. It'd be S, wouldn't it? So they belong to many. While I'm here, put some fillable. What have we got? Employers. Employer has the name and description. Put that there. Okay. All right. Now, in theory, that might be it. And then so this way, I'm pretty sure this is the one where I get to create a employer object and then attach it using that. So if I go back over here to my thing, so that's how we get. But let's now do a employer, new employer, and we just want the name is first employer, and description Cool. So I've created that. And then we want to take the, I might just do, oh, geez. Well, I should be able to make an employer without connecting it to a resume. So that should be right. Has it included that? Yeah, it's included that up there. Just cool. So it creates an instance of it, but it doesn't save it. So we'd have to go like employer save for it to happen, but that's not going to work because it doesn't have a user ID, and it's just going to hit me with an error saying user ID. So I've got to connect it to the user, which means that I should be able to do employer user save user. In theory, I think. Is that going to work? I don't have a connection. So employer doesn't have a user. So let's get the user for the employer user, and we get to use the user, and it is a belongs to. It should be just a direct belongs to relationship. So let's try that again. Might not be. Oh, it says it's to Sol. Belongs to probably doesn't have a save method. I bet you just set the employer user. Probably just cheat. I'm just gonna cheat and user ID equals what do you reckon? Does that work? Is that embarrassing? Should I be attaching it by a model and turning it into a whole relationship, or do I just solve the problem and move on? What do you reckon? Oops, look at that. I managed to get it working. And then I guess if I wanted to get the employer user, and then when I get it, it should also bring back the user object. It should also like add it as a like a nested object when it does that. There it is. Yeah, cool. So that's how we get the nested user. Nice. All right. So we get that. Now can I attach it to like at the resume is user resumes first. First resume. What do we get? Should get the first resume. Yeah. It said first employer, but that's because it is getting it from the resumes table. It's just because I had my wires crossed when I ran this the first time. Cool, so we get the resume, and then that means that if I want to attach this resume to employers and attach employer, does that work? And then we get that should come up. Like the employer should also grab the resumes as a collection, I believe. Okay, employer ID cannot be null. Ah, okay, yep. I have got to just specify cannot be null. Employer ID, resume ID. So it's trying attach employer. So it knows that that table is the one. It knows that the thing, I wonder, resume employers attach employer. Is that right even? Many to many. So user. Role ID. Okay. So I'm not actually passing in the whole object. I'm not attaching the whole object. I'm attaching just the ID. So if I go just employer and ID, Hmm. Uh, wonder. Oh man, Jesus, I still can't figure this out. Hey, it's killing me. Oh man, I really don't want to have to install. I don't want to do like a database thing. Okay. All right. Well, um, yeah, let's keep going. So this is the 3 hour time limit. Yeah, TablePlus. See, this is the thing. Can someone guide me through the TablePlus setup? Because on Windows, for whatever reason, I'm having just a nightmare with it. Table, no. I've had it in the past. So downloads. TablePlus. Oh my god. All right. Well, let's just see how this goes. I don't know. Hey, I'm just, for whatever reason, it's just been to your local socket with TablePlus. Cool. For whatever reason, I have I've just failed at connecting inside the WSL and in the various dev environments that I've had. Oh yeah, sure, I'll install an update. Why not? See, access denied. This sale to database example app. Well, I don't think I have a database called example app. So that's the thing. Local socket file, new connection. All right, let's see. File, connection, new. That's that one, and I actually really want to delete that one. Uh, that one I also want to delete because it's there, and so create a new connection. Oh, yeah, I see. Create a new connection at the bottom. Oh man, you're saving my life here. Go on. Let's do this. So I'm pretty sure it's a MySQL. Yeah, yeah, it is. This is where I keep get, getting hung up. I'm pretty sure if I just find the env, I should have all the details I need. Yep, thank you for that. You're right. So we want Laravel localhost. And it is database host. It's my SQL port 3306. User should be Sale, I'm guessing. Password is password. Database. Host needs to be localhost. Ah, gotcha. Thank you. Localhost in host. SSL. And should be good. Hey, all right. Well, let's test. Connection is okay. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you so much for that. That's awesome. Oh man, that's good. Because I was continuously just intimidated by like TablePlus and all the rest because I just kept bumping into that. I'm not great with these things. I don't know, if you pay attention long enough, you might notice that I am not a smart man. I am not a smart man, Nadine. Yeah, I know. Everyone uses it. Seems like this industry standard thing that everyone uses, raves about, and like it's been so frustrating just bumping into all these problems with like trying to pipe into to get this program to work with that. So thank you again, man. Thank you so much. All right. So where was I? I wanted to see the employer resume table. All right, so I get this. I don't have any entries in this. So clearly something's failing when I do that. Actually, I'll see the resumes. I've got plenty there. I've got plenty of those. I wonder if I just create a row, employer ID, and that default. I guess I press. Do I need to hit enter or anything for that? I don't think I do. Hey. Control S. Thank you. Nice. Nice. Okay, well, I'm going to have a look at the employer. And instead of all of this, I'm going to instead pick the is that what I wanted? Cool. So first employer, I get that. Cool. And all right, and it is attached by the pivot. So you saw what I did there. Hey, I've just gone in and attached I've just gone in and attached these two manually. So I put both their IDs in the pivot. So what that tells me is that the relationship works. So we can see that the attach seems to be failing, or at least, it tells me at least that the relationship is recognized by Laravel, And I might do this from the other direction as well, just to make sure that I'm not missing something here. So if I do employer, what I might do instead is just go resume first. Get the resume, and then employers, and I'll also get the user. And then we get the Christ. I'm good at this. Resume user. I'm not doing that, am I? So I'm essentially just grabbing the resume and I'm connecting the employers, asking it to grab the user as well, and then display the resume. That should work as well. If not, then that's probably why my thing doesn't work. But it does. So remember, it grabs the resume, but that resume is actually, it says employer, but in resumes here, it shows up as first employer. I'm going to save, Control S, try this again. So first test resume, first employer, cool. So they are connected. We do get the pivot. Awesome. Now I just need to figure out what is the right logic to connect these when I create a new one. Oh man. All right, let's go back in here. One, two, and then well, two. And this way we should be able to do. So I'll connect the resume, and what I really want to do is just do a resume employer attach, and then it should be employer ID. No, I haven't built any. I've got fairly limited exposure to Shopify. My partner has a Shopify store, and so I haven't built any Shopify apps. I've really just done like a lot of front end stuff and tweaking of stuff to basically to clean up a Shopify site, and I understand pretty well how it's all laid out. But yeah, not really a. I certainly wouldn't call myself an expert or. I can abide liquid. Um, I know enough to be able to get by. Not a. I'm very far away from being an expert on the subject. That's for sure. So what I want to do here is just grab the second resume, grab the second employer, just connect those two, and I want that to show up in the pivot table. That sounds pretty straightforward to me. That should be what happens. Let's see. No. Bad method call. Attach. Ah, I've got the wrong, it should be employers, plural. Employers. Let's just see what that does. Yes. All right, so that does it. I'm just going to do resume. Might actually just drop that and just make sure it did attach the employer. Cool. All right, so we can see the pivot table has that. We check here. We get another line here as well. So there's that. What else? So I think that's a good start. I don't know. Look, I think today I'm starting to get to the point where I need to have a break. Although we got some momentum going today, this has been good. I've got. I want to just make sure I've got the relationships and save in table plus fills in a valid timestamp. Oh yeah, okay. If I type in the now, like here. Hey, nice one. Okay, cool. Thanks for that. Let's go to... All right, well, I've got a couple of models created. I think today I'd like to wrap up by finishing the relationships between the employers and roles as well. So actually, probably just before I get out of this, let me make sure I've got... So user... So an employer has a user and resumes. A user should have resumes and it should also have employers. Cool, so that's going to have many employers. We also want to have many roles. I like to let the IntelliFence do its thing if possible. So I tend to just like use those autocomplete, even though when you're specifying a class, it's not typically going to, because it automatically discovers class without having to use them. I just like to do it out of habit. What else? Roles, employers. Yeah, that can be it. So for role, create employers table. Don't need that anymore. Let's get the roles table. We want a title. Start, end. Nice. We want start. is date. And then we want end is a date. Right, and I want the public function user. This belongs to the user. And then we want, I want user and employer. Although the role, oh yeah. Employer. Yeah, because the role belongs to an employer. Essentially, it's going to be just like a parent-child relationship, which means that the employer is going to have a has many relationship. So we go back over to employer and we find the roles or roles. Has many. That's the role. I think that's right. Yeah, so an employer has many roles. Cool. Now I'm going to see if I can just create a role. And we'll do all that in the web here as well. Return role. But I do want to just make sure there is a employer. So we do need an employer in order to create a role. So essentially to have a role, because both these foreign IDs are not nullable, you need to have an employer in mind for which you're going to pass through to save, which is fine. Excuse me. Oop. What am I doing here? Okay, so and then with role, I will create a new role with a title. It is the role title and then the description. I should really have database seeders here, shouldn't I? But this is what, if you be too lazy as a developer early on in a project, it just ends up costing you more time in the long run. I could have done seeders, but that's a whole other thing. I just really wanted to test these relationships. Maybe I'll just copy across some of these in the next one. Yeah, you know. It's like, ugh. Oh man, making seeders and factories is so boring. I want to do all the fun stuff, and then you end up like doing all the fun stuff just turns into all the boring stuff because you just spend so much time just doing all this boilerplate stuff that you could automate. If I wanted to populate a massive database, I could. Yeah, yeah, that's it. Yeah, yeah, that's pretty much how I feel about it as well. I'm like, oh man, just ship something. Just get it to a point where it works and you can sort of demonstrate something, and then maybe you'll get like paying customers or investment or like a glimmer of hope that maybe this could turn into something, and then I'll go back and fix all the trash code that I've written. Because but until that day, it's going to be ifs and switch statements all the way down. It's not that bad, but you know what I mean. Hey, all right. So description, and then I got start. I reckon this is probably where I'm going to end up with something silly here, because I reckon I need a new new date time, is it? And then I want, is it now? I think I'm asking you here, date time, just off the top of your head. I might just put in a date, 10 1, and I'll just see what that does. Return role. So I'm just going to see and make sure that it actually gets me back a valid time. Oh, yep, cool. So I get a valid date time object. That's fine. Does it save? Oh yeah, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, carbon would work. I have this sort of ambition that my ambition is that I would get better at just being a PHP developer. So where I can, it would be, well, and like Carbon's a great package, and I've relied on it heaps. But I'm sort of trying to get a little bit closer to the metal, if that makes sense. So I try to sort of spin up my own, or like, because I'm really concerned that I'm going to end up getting into a role or position where they might have issues with particular packages, or particular packages might have security issues, and I just feel like some packages provide. That is a valid and very fair and reasonable point you're making there. Yeah. Um, all right. Well, let's move on. Uh, so I got the role. Now I want to connect the user ID and employer ID. So I think we go. Well, what do I do here? I go employers. Yeah, and I just do role ID equals ID, and then same for user. User. And then do I... Oh, wait. No, I'm not doing that. I'm taking employers. No, I'm taking the employer. And then I am going to attach the employer ID. And then chuck it there. So attach the employer. Wait, no, I don't. No, because it's just a parent. Ugh. So I'm really just including those bits, and then I just want to save the role. What do you reckon? Do we see any errors? Any issues? So specifying that these are not fillable. These are all fillable. We should get a save, and it should happen. What do you reckon? Yes. All right. Feeling good. Feeling confident. All right. So that's that. And now let's make sure that we can actually retrieve these details. So let's get a go. Where shall I go? All. Oh yeah, a user would have roles. Why wouldn't that come up? Yeah, I see what you mean. Hey, admin, employee, user. So the scope of the app, I don't know if I've got might have some new viewers. So I guess I'll clarify what we're doing or what I'm actually building here. So the application is a resume builder. So the idea is that there's not going to be different types of admins. Like there's not going to be different user roles. Essentially, you will have you'll have your own login to your own account, and there's no real reason for providing anyone else any type of say constrained access. So I did think about that, having the role as a I thought about that for having like a role as like say if we were to set this project up using teams. So, you'd have like an administrator with all the different individual roles, admin, employee, user, all those ones you mentioned. But I think for the scope of this project, there was no reason. And I could have used position or other, but in my mind, I sort of thought that I'd have position sort of synonymous with profession or position in there. But you're right. Or ordinarily, you would have like a probably a more descriptive role rather than just having it be role. Hey, for a typical application. All right, cool. So going back. Now this one, I've broken it somewhere here. So user roles all. I wonder what I did here. Do I need all or get? Web. Let's try get, maybe? Oh yeah, get was all I needed, and that would have been a collection. So I wonder if I had made. I'm going to do this again, and then it might end up making, yeah, so it'll make a second one, should make a third one, and then return the whole collection. Yeah, cool. All right, so we can get, well, that's it. Hey, so I've gone pretty long on this particular stream today. Guys, I think I'm going to schedule another stream for probably the same time tomorrow. I might get started maybe an hour later. Hey, actually, can you guys send off in the chat whereabouts is everyone located? Because I'm in Brisbane, which is Brisbane, Queensland, and you've probably told already by my accent that I'm in Australia. Oh yeah, so we got US, sweet. Yeah, so I'm probably pretty mindful too that I'm probably keeping US viewers up late here. Oh yeah, cool, Philippines, awesome. So yeah, you're on the same side of the planet as me. So we're a bit closer. I know I had Aiden in here. He's a mate of mine from ages ago. He used to stream video games. I want to get online and stream video games with him in the future. That might be fun. I might just hijack his stream actually, because he might end up being a better gamer than I am. Working for $1 is not recommended in the US. I don't understand. That reference. Oh, dollar dev code. Yeah. Yeah. A single dollar. Yeah, that would be, that's going to be a challenging market. Might heavily rely on upsells, I would think. So looking at the application so far, now I know all we've done today is really just establish the models and get things really set up for it to become exciting in the future. So the idea is that once I think in the next session, I'm going to start building out this dashboard here where we'll just start entering some fields for the user to be able to start actually entering and inputting some bits and pieces. I think while I'm off stream, I'll go and double check and make sure that my my Laravel Forge and my DigitalOcean accounts are all still working and able for me to deploy, because I think we might just deploy this maybe towards the end of the next stream, or maybe over the weekend. So what I might do, guys, seeing as though we've got a couple of people on the other side of the planet, I might just schedule my streams to be a little bit earlier in the day. I'll have a look at that. I'm going to do a bit of streaming on the weekend to keep hitting this project, because I really am trying to really pump this one out. And I'll try to avoid late night streams, both for my sleep schedule. Yeah, but I try to get up. I feel that, but I also try to get up personally nice and early and get started with my day early and get to bed early too. So just trying to be mindful of my own sleep schedule too. Also, I got kids, and so when family's happening in the evening, it's hard for me to get sort of a quiet and concentrated environment. So while my kids are at school and daycare, it's easier for me to do this. Well, I'm going to wrap up this stream now, guys. So hey, you've been really helpful. I'm really stoked that you guys came to have a look and stuck around. Yeah, check back in over the weekend. I plan to maybe do a couple of summary videos and post them on my YouTube. I think you can see my my website with all the links to my YouTube and Instagram and whatever. You can stay in contact with me and follow along, and I'll try to make it obvious when I'm going to be streaming. I'll update my my stream schedule so that hopefully I can bash this product out. I mean, I don't. He's dollar dev. You might see. You might agree with this. I've got. You make so much progress in the beginning. You think, oh yeah, awesome. I'm going to have this deployed and finished probably by the end of next week, easily. And then you check your watch and it's 3 weeks later and you're still just like struggling to put all the little finishing touches on it. So this is also why I really want to push it to development environment and server as early as I can, so that in the back of my mind, like the idea of, okay, well, I'm wrapping up a stream, I need to get this, and this done. Yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah, halfway done at 95%. It's the last 5% that takes you just as much time as the first 95. Yeah, it's so easy to underestimate how much time it's going to take. But yeah, so just to finish that thought, I like to get something live so that every time I decide that cool, I'm gonna finish a session and I'm going to commit this and push it to master. That master is automatically going to deploy, so that at the end of each session, I've always got a working application that essentially has a delivered feature, or like a functional application. That's always what I strive for, but I don't necessarily achieve it every time. Speaking of, I'm going to push this to master and then we'll wrap up here. So established. What have I got? Catch you later, guys. See you next stream. Resume and role models. I think that's it. And then I'll just push this one to master. Oh man, how do I stop this stream? What do we do here? Okay, all right. All right, you guys have been a real pleasure. Thanks again for dropping by. I'll catch you all in the next one. See ya.